One of the features of my job is that you have the opportunity to talk to people in different industries and businesses about the challenges that they face and how we as policymakers and legislators might help to remove some of those obstacles. And I've been doing a bit of that this month. So, for example, visiting people in the hospitality industry who are telling me about some of the real obstacles they face in employing the people they want to employ. And that applies particularly to young people. And you'll appreciate that if you're talking about a pub or a restaurant, it's quite often younger people that they want and need to employ. And if, as the government is, you make it more expensive to employ those people, then very often those businesses will choose not to do so. That's not good for them, it's not good for their customers, and of course, it's not good for their employees and potential employees. And that's why I continue to oppose the government's employment rights bill, not because I'm against employment rights, but because I think it's really important we balance out those rights with the opportunities to offer employment that particularly small businesses find it more difficult to do if you put obstacles in their way, and of course make it more expensive by national insurance increases. Now, looking beyond hospitality, there are other parts of industry and business that I've also been talking to people about this month. For example, those in agriculture need somewhere to pass their livestock onto to be slaughtered and prepared for the market. And we have an abattoir in Kenilworth that does that work. And I had a look around and a conversation with the people who run that abattoir, particularly about the difficulties they face in selling abroad into the European market and some of the obstacles that they face, the paperwork they have to fill in, and the ways in which we might slim that down and make it easier are things that I can pick up and will pick up with government ministers. And then maybe the last thing to mention this month is a walk down memory lane, for me at least, visiting the Crown Courts in Leamington, which some of you will know of, and the changes that are happening there about the workload that they deal with and the ways in which they have to process what can be very long waits to bring a case from original plea through to trial. And to be able to pick that up in Parliament here too, with what's called a Westminster Hall debate that I led on the subject of reform to the criminal courts. There's a very senior judge called Brian Levison who's produced a report on that, making what I think are some very sensible suggestions as to how we might make our Crown Courts run more efficiently. So one of the things about my job is being able to connect what you hear in the constituency from people who are on the front line with what you can do here in Westminster to change the law and make improvements. And actually, in all these areas, that's what I've been engaged in doing. And when it comes to criminal courts, I was able to do that through a debate on that specific subject, which otherwise I think wouldn't have been discussed in the depth we were able to discuss it in. So these are opportunities that people in my job have, and they are good to exploit to make sure that we're doing the best we can to improve the working lives of those who run businesses or work in public services in the constituency by changing the rules here to deliver better outcomes.